Back at it for East-West All-Stars football with Coach Phil Weaver over at Grimsley. I always call him Coach Phil Weaver. He's in charge of the games and getting these things going again. Coach, we talk about challenges. Boy, you've had some challenges this year. I'm sure you've always had challenges. You moved this thing to the winter. You never thought some of these things might be challenges like they are, but you've got so many activities going on. It's a busy time for you right now. Trying to get these kids in here. When does practice start? What's some of those things going on right now?
Well, they're practicing right now.
Got practice going on already.
And, of course, with Grimsley being in the playoffs, Coach Davis had to move the West practice to Dudley. So they're over there, and Southwest has got the East. And the problems you're talking about, the main one was that we're playing the state finals the same week as our game, which means that we had 16 teams going in that we could have lost players from. So we had to be ready to replace 12 players out of 72 going into this past weekend. We knew we were going to lose 2 from Weddington or 2 from Grimsley. Mm-hmm. They were the only ones that were playing each other.
Right.
But otherwise, we've had about 6 replacements in the last few days, that's not easy to do. It's tough on the kids and families and everything else, but.
You start replacing, you try to find somebody probably local as close as you can, too, so you can get that guy in here and get him going, I guess.
Yeah, and the last one was a linebacker out of Reynolds, Crowley. Dad played at Carolina, I believe.
Yeah, back in the day.
He used to coach at Reynolds, so and he'd been to the banquet in the game, so he knew a little bit about it. I think that helped probably.
But you got so much going on. You got the, you got the HACO going on this week in town, which is basketball, different football. You've also got state championship games, and then your game falls on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much happening. I know this is last year, not quite as tight last year as far as the schedule goes, a little different last year. This year you've got to make it happen because you've only got a certain window to get this thing done in.
Yeah, but last year we had to move the game from Sunday to Saturday at the last minute because of weather, if you remember.
Yeah.
We had that horrible cold rain for a whole day.
Yeah. And
we did the right thing there. All the high school stuff won't hurt us on Sunday. Probably hurt the Shrine game some.
Yeah.
But since they're playing on Saturday, we've got NFL football, I guess, is all we've got to contend with.
You're going to be battling some cold temperatures here, too. It's going to be pretty chilly that day, so I know you want to fight that cold weather. It's supposed to be cold this time of year, so you got to be prepared for that anyway. Like I say, last year, you overcame it. That's a good move. I was trying to remember right to last year. You moved it from Sunday to Saturday, and like you say, it went off without a hitch as far as total logistics go, and the weather was good that day and got it all done.
Yeah. And we're lucky this year we got the Eastern Guilford Band coming back, and Dudley's band's coming.
Oh, good.
So we'll have a pretty good show at halftime.
Very good show. And you got some, as far as the kids go, you got some great weather to practice in this week. I mean, you want to practice probably 10 hours today if you could, with the way this weather is today. So perfect, so beautiful right now.
Looks like Saturday will be the first cooler day, and of course all we do is walk through on Saturday. So when you get to the game, you only got 36 players, and they're all got to play each quarter, so they're not going to get cold. Fans may get a little cool, but kids aren't going to care.
And I guess you look at it, too. You got practice, today, Thursday? Today's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
2 tomorrow, 2 Friday, and a walk through Saturday.
Yeah. How about your coaches? I guess you picked up a coach when Dudley fell out of the playoffs. You were able to get Coach Stephen Davis, I guess, coming in, right?
Well, he was originally the head coach. Mm-hmm. We were faced with possibly losing him.
Right.
And Coach Williams and Coach Price on the East were both in the semifinals. Now, they both lost, unfortunately for them and fortunately for us. And, of course, Coach Davis lost in the quarters, I guess.
Yeah.
So, he stayed on, but he's had a death in the family, so he's dealing with that. And Andy Capone from Weddington's dad is very ill, and so Andy had to drop out. So we picked up Antonio Hall from Dudley as a sixth coach to give them 6 to go with the East.
I hope these guys have got they're open-minded, the offensive team open-minded come in. Coach Hall gets around these offensive kids. He comes with all kinds of wild offensive plays. He's a wide open offensive man. You got Dudley they had 3,000-yard receivers this year and 2,000-yard rushers. So that's a lot of offense. So he can probably put it together in about 3 days, get that thing rolling for you. That should be good. You got Earl Bates also assistant coach, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another local man, Southeast Guilford man. You got a Southeast Guilford player, Eric Gladney, on the team also.
Right. And if Coach Davis needs to leave for family reasons, Coach Bates will take over, actually.
He's the backup man.
Yeah.
He could do well because he was, man, when he was coaching back in the day, Reedsville assistant coach under Jimmy T. He went to Moorhead, took them to the playoffs, beat some upstart teams, and he went on over to Southern Guilford, the Northeast Guilford, now it's Southeast, and he gave Grimsley a decent first half a few weeks back, 21 points
yeah,
in the that first half. Did well.
Shocked them.
I shocked a lot of people, I think. They saw that game was tied at 21-21, just about a minute and a half left in the first half there. That was interesting. But Coach Bates has got his game going. He's got the Gladney kid. You got the Ratliff kid still in from Dudley. You still got the Christian Brown kid from Page. You got this Organis kid. Trey Organis checked in from High Point Andrews, a very good defensive player. So you've got some good local representation. Got a kid from Reedsville too, I think.
Forsyth County.
Yeah. You got a Reedsville kid coming in.
Reedsville, yeah.
Sometimes you wouldn't have Reedsville because they're usually playing for the state championship this year. So you got them this year. And East Forsyth, like you say, had a very good year. So good. And you got West Forsyth too, I think probably you said, right? Got a West Forsyth guy?
I don't remember.
You got a Reynolds guy though, right?
Yes, we do have Reynolds. Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan, very good too. Reagan. So local representation looks good for this year's team.
Right.
How about your thoughts going in? How you feeling about this right now coming up this week? How you feeling going in? You usually give us a pretty good indication what it's looking like.
Of course, I haven't seen. I didn't even get to go to. We're shorthanded in the office today. I had to stay with the phones. So I didn't even get to see them check in. I don't know what they look like on the hoof even.
Mm-hmm. As far as overall logistics for the week as a whole are going so far, how's that going for you so far?
We're in good shape. The Greensboro Sports Foundation has helped us out again, helping us take care of the kids Friday night. And we're going to have a recruiting fair again.
Oh, that's good.
Thursday night at the Coliseum, and they're working with us. Got 7 colleges signed up to come, and if any high school coach or college that hears this and wants to add on, all I got to do is give me a call tomorrow, and we'll put them in there.
Boy, your college coaches are changing a lot in this state right now too. New coach at Appalachian, new coach at Wake Forest, new coach at North Carolina. The college and new coach at East Carolina changed during the season, so they have a lot of college coaching change going on.
I hate to see Coach Clausen go. I never met the man, but I've always thought a lot of him.
I did too.
Got a grandson, freshman at Wake, and I just like the way Wake does things.
Yeah, I always like watching Coach Clausen and Dave Doran because they both came in the league about the same time. I thought, who was going to last the longest? Both coaches did well. I thought they might get sucked up, taken out of here eventually, but both guys stayed around, and Doran's still going, and he might have some kids in this game. I don't know how many state commits are in this game or not. He usually has a kid or two around here. Now you're seeing more of these college coaches. Are they more lenient now about letting their guys play in these games than they were before? What do you think?
They don't object to them playing, but what they're doing is they're bringing them in so they can practice for the bowl. We're losing kids that are going to practice in college where they hadn't even been to a class.
Yeah. Getting
ready to go to the bowl game, which they can't play in. So they're just getting a free practice is what the college coaches are
getting to work out with the team. So they're going to go to a bowl actually before they actually enroll and go to class.
I'm sure they can't dress because they can't be eligible, surely.
I remember Taylor went last year. Taylor went to Carolina to the bowl last year, I think, and he was had the blue jersey on. We couldn't have the equipment on. I don't think he could play in that game. But it's interesting, like you say, there's always something happening. This football and basketball, but all this landscape is ever changing. You might say more changes right now than we've ever seen before. And I tell you, it's good though. You hate missing out having, because if I was thinking about the other day, I said, man, if Mitchell Summers would have been in this game, we could have sold a lot of local tickets. Because I saw that Grimsley crowd at that game last Friday. That's the most Grimsley fans I've ever seen the game last Friday. The place was packed on the home side. It was crazy. But you lose Summers and you also lose Adrian Hill, the lineman. I think you lose both those guys. But boy, you have to be happy for what they're going to be doing when they play for that championship game on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Grimsley guy, but Mitchell Summers is just something special. He's one of the toughest kids I ever saw. He doesn't fumble, and he can hit the hole faster than anybody I ever saw.
If you saw him stand around a bunch of kids, maybe from a junior high school, you think he's one of them. You see him just standing around. Doesn't look anything like what he does in the field. It's amazing what he does in the field.
He's well-spoken. And I've talked to a bunch of these kids, or they've called Malia, and the bunch we've got this year is very polite, and I heard her compliment a kid on his manners the other day. I think he must have said, yes, ma'am, or something. So I think we got a good bunch of kids. We got a lot of kids with good grades. We got 2 perfect 4.0s and a lot of 3.8s and 9s, which in football is not real common.
It can be a little different sometimes.
And, of course, anybody that saw the Grimsley game, the Weddington quarterback is really darn good.
He is. He really is a very good quarterback. Is he in this game?
Yes, that slant he threw for their next to last touchdown was a heck of a throw.
So Fee is here, Mr. Fee. Yeah, interesting. He's like you say, very good quarterback. Very good quarterback. Because I saw a couple of plays, like you say, made, and boy, their defense is all over Faison Brandon in that game. He took a couple of shots, but boy, a lot of resiliency on that Grimsley team that night. They really fought back, and it's good to see that kind of thing happening around. I think it's more interest in football, interest in the overall sport in the area right now. What about this from a coach's standpoint? I know Grimsley's playing Friday night. If some of those kids felt inspired, I know Grimsley will have a game Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Hayco. Would it be possible for a guy to play in a game on Friday night, state championship game, and come out and play in a basketball game on Saturday? Would that be a possibility just from your coaching experience over the years? Could they pull that off?
Not if he played for me.
Right.
I always wanted him to take 2 or 3 days just to get the bruises out. And I mean, you had kids like Rod Elkins, who he was going to be at the next practice. There was no way to keep him away.
Right.
But a lot of kids appreciated it, particularly the ones that played, say, running back or linebacker, where they got beat up pretty good. And, you know, I don't know how Darren feels, but you got to be fair to the kids that have been there. And just because we know Rod Elkins is going to start the minute he gets on the floor doesn't mean he should.
Right. I know some of the kids, and this is not going to be an obstacle, I don't think, as far as they'll be sitting on the bench with the team. They'll come in street clothes and join the team on the bench and be a part of the bench that game. I'm sure that would be a possibility there for something like that.
Oh, I would encourage that.
Yeah, to be a part of it. Boy, I tell you, that Grimsley sideline last Friday, as far as former Grimsley players, people coming back.
Yeah.
I think I've never seen as many people on the sideline at that game in former life. You got a lot of Grimsley players. They've got a ton of players now. JV and varsity, both this program has escalated and jumped up because they're coming in. But all the former players, that sideline was packed. I'm sure it'll be a similar situation Sunday when you get these guys probably huddled together Sunday, nice cool afternoon, be huddled up together on that sideline close, all the coaches and the players. But it's always a fun thing to be down around the field during these games. There's a lot of activity, and these guys are that's a different breed of animal what we saw back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. These animals out this day, and these young men coming up now are definitely hard hitters, great athletes, and it's just changed a lot. We like watching them play. And we mentioned Brown from Page, we mentioned Ratliff from Dudley, mentioned Organos from High Point Andrews, mentioned Gladney from Southeast Guilford. Just a lot of local talent. I think people need to come out and support these guys on Sunday and see what these guys have. It'll be a good chance to see them one last time. We may not see these guys again.
That's right. They may go to college somewhere where you don't get a real chance to get a look at them anymore.
And I know Coach Davis is probably pumped up about coaching this game. I don't know how many more years Coach Davis has. He's probably getting closer to retirement every year. Won't step down yet, but I know it's an honor to coach in these games too for the coaches. I know over the years the coaches have kind of put down their bio and their resume. Coaching a game like this is something big for their overall career, I know.
Yeah, whether it's basketball, football, or soccer, it's one of those achievements everybody would like to be able to check off, just as a recognition of A, you've been loyal to our Coaches Association, B, you've had some success, and C, your fellow coaches think you're somebody who can work with other people and will do a good job as a team, even if you're a head coach now being an assistant. And that's the hard part, is being the head coach is not that hard. It's the guys that are really head coaches that now they got to be an assistant.
Right. They got to find their area and get the area in good shape, in good order. Somebody like yourself back, and they always popping up these questions out of curiosity. Now, you coach girls basketball and boys basketball both. Mm-hmm. Did you get to coach in the East-West All-Star game for girls and boys basketball both, or one or the other?
No, just the boys.
Just the boys, yeah. Because I know you coached in a state championship for girls and a state championship for boys, right?
Yeah, I got to do that. Yeah.
Well, that says a lot back in the day.
Yeah, I'd like to have done the North Carolina, South Carolina with the girls, but I didn't get the chance. So.
Probably we're close. That was that game still going? Was it still getting started?
We'll be in our 27th year, I think, this year.
Boy, it's moving on.
We'll be down at Hoggard, the 20-something, maybe of 23rd strikes me in March, whatever that Saturday is, that afternoon.
So you're playing today, looking at today, you got practice today, you got the game coming up on Sunday, 1 p.m. at Jameson Stadium, 1 p.m. kickoff, and I know you're looking forward to it.
Yep.
A lot of work's gone into this. I mean, behind the scenes, because it kind of got lost sometimes. You forget about it if you don't keep your calendar marked because so much else is going on right now. A lot of it was the state championships coming up and basketball coming in, all these things happening. So got to get these people focused on Sunday at 1 p.m. at Jameson Stadium for the big game. And you mentioned Dudley Band at halftime and also Eastern Guilford Band at halftime. Mm-hmm. It's just a good halftime entertainment.
Yep.
What's the rest of your schedule? I know you can't give it all because there's so much going on. What are you up to the rest of this week as far as getting everything the way you want it to be?
All right. Well, tomorrow everything should be good because we've got players in, and we got one guy that's, like I think I told you, had hopefully a 24-hour virus or something. He's on the mend. We think he should report tomorrow morning, but the other 71 are here, and so things should go smoothly. And then we've got the recruiting fair tomorrow night. That's important that we get that done right. We had to move it because of something going on at the Coliseum. So we're in the Ovations Lounge, which is not nearly as big as the terrace where we did it last year. So we'll figure a way to work around that. Coliseum staff's so good. Nick Searcy to work with. Then Friday, of course, we'll have practice. But that morning the West will be at General Green Elementary, and Southwest Elementary will host the East kids. And being the last day of school, that's going to be pretty wild, I'm imagining.
I bet so too.
Those elementary kids will be wound already.
Boy.
And but our kids, I think, get probably as much out of this as the elementary kids do, really. It's really fun to watch. And then, of course, they'll practice that afternoon and take pictures that afternoon. Well, tomorrow afternoon. Practice Friday afternoon, and then that night we'll have the Sports Foundation affair. And then Saturday we'll do a walkthrough in the morning. They'll get to watch some games on TV. And then that night we have the banquet. And we've got Lee Rousson, who 2 Super Bowl rings, played at Colorado, played at Page, played in the All-Star game, is going to be our speaker. And that'll be at the Sheraton Ballroom, and that's a really nice affair. And by then, those kids will be tired. They'll go back, and they might watch some football. And let's see, I guess there'll be some state championship games still on, and there'll be some playoff games in college on, too. So
it might be a pro game or two on, too. I think they're doing some pros on Saturdays now, too.
Oh, okay.
Here in December, yeah. So where are the kids all staying at? What hotels accommodate the guys?
The Wyndham Garden has worked with us for quite a few years now. They give them a good breakfast, and we get a rate that is tough to match anywhere. But we've been pretty loyal to them. They've been pretty loyal to us. It's a good working relationship, I think. And it's right there on the highway. We can get to Southwest in 20 minutes and get to Grimsley in 15 for practices and for the game.
Well, good thing, like you mentioned about the schools, going to the schools on Friday, going to General Green, going to Southwest Elementary, those 2 schools, and visiting the kids, because that's something you couldn't do during the summer. Brickell School is not in sessions. That's a very good thing you've added, too, to the overall East-West All-Stars football week. And I know Mrs. Harris up at General Green, she's the principal there. Her daughter Jasmine, a very good basketball player in her own right back in her day. And but I know I was up that way last year doing the morning run or exercise walk there. I saw Coach Nance. He was coming out of there last year. He was always usually gets involved in those things too, helping you out there. So I know those, like you said, the kids will be pumped up that day. There'll be probably a few parents hanging around too. They'll pick the kids up early, probably the last day of school they try to do. So that should be a very festive occasion on Friday when the guys go to see those schools. Who else is helping you? You mentioned Coach Nance there just a second ago. Reed Holmes always helping you out.
Yeah.
All those guys working together to get this thing done. I know Joe Franks is right here somewhere getting some stuff done.
He doesn't do much with the games, but he can fix when we got electronic problems, or he's good on the phone with people and that sort of thing. And then Brendan Chrisman runs practices out at Southwest for us, and we're going to bring him on staff actually when he finally retires. He and Reed, and we're going to bring Darren Corbett on. Of course, he's not much help now because of basketball. We wouldn't expect anything out of him. And then Addison Edwards, who is the assistant AD at Grimsley, does the practices and the game over here at Grimsley.
I was going to say Joe Franks probably want to make sure everything's straight on Joe Franks' field when they come to the field on
Sure he would.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, when they go to Dudley for practice, this would be probably an interesting thing to have them do, but at Dudley, you've got the regular game field, the Tarpley Stadium field. Plus, you've got the upper field, which is up by the highway, and the lower field by the base. But they all have those guys practicing all three of those fields just to get a full feel of what Dudley has done over the years. Because, man, Dudley will start out the season on that field out by the highway.
Yeah.
Then gradually move down the field down by the baseball field. And as the season goes on, you get to practice on the game field once your regular season games are pretty much concluded. But it should be a good workout over at Dudley for the. And plus, it's good for Coach Davis in some ways too. Just pop out of the gym or the office, go right down to practice. It's pretty
well, no, he had to come with the team from the hotel
and ride over with them.
They're already at the hotel because they checked in yesterday. And before I forget it, and you get me off track here, Malia Jones, our office manager, is totally involved in all this stuff. So
couldn't get it done without her for sure.
No, and so they checked in yesterday, and Ray Issa over at Cafe Pasta fed the coaches last night for us, and they in Golden Corral and Outback on Wendover's going to help us with a pregame meal. Chick-fil-A helps us with some lunches. All that stuff has to come together nicely.
Got a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts involved in this week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Are you starting to like it since you've switched it from the summer to the winter season a little more? You starting to like this now?
You're gonna have to show me a crowd.
Yeah.
In the next couple of years, or I'm gonna be going to the board and saying we made a mistake.
Have to flip it back.
We do have better players because we've got Division I's now that we didn't have before. But if we're gonna have colleges draining all these kids off again, I don't know. And high school coaches are going to have to come support the game. They asked for it, and we did it. And basketball coaches bit their tongues and supported it, even though they really didn't like it. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't have liked it either. Wrestling coaches, I doubt we have many football players swimming, but I guess there are a few. Mm-hmm. So, these guys got to show up and support their game Sunday.
You need to get those local teams in here full force, too. If you got a Dudley kid, everybody on the team should be here supporting that kid on Sunday.
Should.
You got a Page team, Page kid, Page team should be here supporting that kid. It goes for every school. Southeast Gopher, got to be here supporting Gladney, the player, and supporting Coach Bates, the coach. That's the way it works as far as that goes. It's a one-way door. Got to get on in here and support those kids, support those teams.
Let's hope so.
That's kind of been a given, at least it had been in the earlier years. If one of your teammates makes a team, that's really something big, and your coaches there, you want to go support them and be a part of it. Kind of want to maybe get out on the field at the game, shake their hand, played well, talk to these guys after the game.
Well, if you count it, there are 44 Shrine kids, and there's 72 East-West. What's 116? Yeah. That's the top 100 kids in the state, basically. So if you make one of the two teams, you're pretty good.
Tell you what, that Fee kid, I want to watch him play again Sunday because I watched him play last Friday night for Weddington. Very good quarterback, good sharp arm, and boy, could do some good things with that football. And tall kid.
About 6'4", I think. Yeah. If there hadn't been a wet field, that might have had a different result. If he doesn't slip going and getting them out of field goal range, that game could change easily.
Yeah, because he had some help from his defense.
And they were already up 10, I think, at the time.
I figured that score could have been 21-0 at halftime in favor of Weddington. Possibility. But to tell you what, got to give Grimsley all the credit in the world. The resilience they had come back in the second half, 35 points second half, outscoring that team like they did. Just hope Grimsley's men under Darryl Brown do the same thing on Friday night when they take on that team they've already beaten once this season, Roseville.
Yeah, I was kind of being selfish. I was kind of hoping Dudley would be playing tonight. I mean, this weekend too. But.
Right. Hope the best for all the teams. I'll tell you what, that Dudley thing was crazy when they played West Charlotte, because West Charlotte's got a swagger about them, and West Charlotte went up to beat Hickory. The team beat Dale last year. They beat Hickory, so now they got to play 71st, which Page played 71st when you're in the championship game at least once. So we know all these teams, and you know all these kids on these papers or these rosters. So the thing to make this week work, what's got to happen?
Everybody's got to do their job and do it on time.
Exactly. And the key thing, back to the time, 1 p.m. Sunday, Jamison Stadium.
Right. And
that's the East-West All-Stars football game. You're in charge of all these things happening around here right now. Keep up the good work. It's been a quick interview. I'd say, well, we put some time on this little machine here. Well, it's been a good, smooth operation. We keep this thing. We almost got to do this. I thought about, it's been a busy week for me, too, getting this stuff ready. But I said, got to go out and see Coach Weaver get this interview, because we don't do the interview. We can't have a game on Sunday. Gotta get this interview.
Well, we appreciate you doing it.
Coach, thank you so much. Continued success, and I hope the coaches will support the game on Sunday. Hope the local fans will support the game on Sunday. The local high schools will come out and support these teams. If you're a coach, you're required to be here Sunday. Be here Sunday and check out your teams. Coach Weaver, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Andy.